Greetings. How are you? I hope that everybody's well. Thank you for coming back to the Spirit Walker channel. And today we are going to talk about the most amazing thing there is, in my opinion, my humble opinion, which is time. What is time? I think that time is just a learning tool that is only necessary for third density living. What is third density living? It's this state where we are now. It's where we are conscious being. We are sentient beings. We have the power of rationality and the power of self-awareness, but we haven't yet tapped into intelligent energy and intelligent infinity. Intelligent energy being things like astral energies and Reiki and all of that stuff, and intelligent infinity is all of those powers that we will get when we tap into our psychic possibilities, or psychic abilities like telepathy, telekinesis, and all of that stuff. So it's manipulation of the mental grid line of the universe. We're not there yet as a species. Some people have developed that, but as a species, we are not capable of doing that yet. That's why we're still, so to speak, classified as third density. It's the current stage of humankind. Now, third density is really very important because that's where you make your choice between the positive or the negative path. It's the last state of soul evolution that positives are mixed with negatives. Because in fourth density, when everybody is psychic, everybody's aware of everything that is happening, this co-mingling cannot happen. So the negatives go to one place, the positives go to another place. Third density, everybody is mixed together. This is why on this planet we have people that are trying to make something good for themselves and trying to act with compassion, and they live side by side. Investment bankers, they are only concerned with money, and and mob people that could kill you to get your car or your drug money or all of that stuff. This is why we have this messed up mix still on this planet. It's a sign, it's an intrinsic characteristic of third density living. Now, the thing that is really very interesting is that time is a tool. Time represents a learning tool. It's a learning opportunity. It's a separation between action and reaction. Now, action and reaction is a fundamental law for the universe to exist. Action and reaction is a fundamental law for the physical universe to exist, but we know that everything is mental. Therefore, anything that you apply to the physical universe is, of course, applicable to the mental universe as well, because the two are essentially the same thing. If something happens in the physical universe, action and reaction, and we all know that it does, it also would happen in the mental universe, in the moral universe, because the moral universe is the underpinning of the physical universe. So how does that work? So let's say, for example, suppose that you decide to punch someone because you don't like them. That is an action. That it's an action in the physical universe, but it's also an action in the moral universe. You created an imbalance, and this imbalance will need to be corrected. Now, suppose that this person has already learned their lesson and they don't want to punch you back. Therefore, the reaction to that would have to come from some other means. The universe would balance this action out in some way. So let's suppose, I don't know, a brick falls on your head. Now, if every time that you punch someone in the head, a brick fell on you, you would very quickly understand that something was happening. You would very quickly understand that there was some consequence to what you did. So you would never again punch people in the head, because you would be afraid of this reaction that from the universe that would be instantaneous. So you would refrain from punching them or from attacking people, not because you love them and you care about them and you respect their well-being, and you respect you have great feelings for their pain. You don't want their pain. That would not be the reason why you would refrain yourself. You would refrain yourself just because you don't want a brick falling on your head. So in other words, you would be a robot. You would be an automated being. And you would learn absolutely nothing. Now what happens is that our 6 density entities, which is called the higher self or the oversoul, which are the representation of intelligent infinity in us. So it's God in us. These beings have created time as a learning tool for us. What happens is that action will be separated from reaction by an interval, and this interval is time. This is why a lot of people say that karma doesn't exist, because they are within this space where the reaction has not yet been obvious, has not yet appeared to an action that they had in the future, in the past. You could actually have multiple lifetimes before karma manifests itself. So this is why a lot of materialists in their narrow-mindedness say that karma and action and reaction doesn't exist, because they can't see yet that a reaction will manifest and will be of equal and opposing effect in relation to what has been done in the past. Now, so this is a learning tool. So before the reaction comes back to you, you have time to understand the pain that you caused to the other person. You have time to create a certain level of empathy for the pain that you caused to the other person. And this is going to be the key learning tool, the key tool that you are going to use in order to develop love and compassion. So you're not going to regret what you did just because a brick fell on your head. You will have the opportunity to regret what you did because you caused pain to the other person, and you now have learned to care about the other person to whom you did something that was bad. So time is essentially a learning tool that is only necessary in 3rd density living. 4th density living, as I have already discussed, they don't need time anymore. It's something that they have already gone through this, and it's something that they have already learned. It's like training wheels on a bicycle. The moment that you learned how to ride a bike, the training wheels need to fall off, because they're only going to slow you down. This is what's happening with time for us. Time needs to collapse for us, because time is just a learning tool. It's just like a training wheel, and it needs to be removed from our existence. Now, this is what so ascension from 3rd density living to 4th density living necessarily means there is going to have to be a breakdown in the structure of time. Now, you could say, do you have any evidence of this? Or is there any pointers to this? Do you remember this passage? Yes, I am with you always until the end of time. Do you remember who said this? It was Jesus, and this is straight out of Matthew 28:20. And Jesus 2,000 years ago was already discussing and making it obvious that time was going to collapse, because Jesus already knew that the end of the third density evolutionary stage on Earth was really very close. So he was already talking to us about the end of the structure of time. Do we have any evidence that time is losing its mojo? Time is losing its power to imprison us? Well, yes. If you look at, for example, things like regression therapy, where someone regresses to past lives, and in some cases they can actually regress, or I think it will be progress, to future lives. The mind of the person is sent or has access to past and present, past and future, in the same way as they have access to the information of their present. So this is already an example of the very powerful human mind breaking free of the stricture of time through the use of these techniques. And if you want to know more about this type of field, I advise you to go and have a look at what Dolores Cannon wrote, and other people like Michael Newton. These are only American examples. There are many regression therapists or regressionists in Europe, in Japan, Australia, Brazil, etc. This is really ubiquitous, and I'm just giving you two very famous examples, so you could learn more about this. Now, is there any other example of the human mind breaking free of the stricture, of the cage of time? Well, yes, of course, you guessed it, the Mandela Effect. The Mandela Effect, I have there the crazy example of C-3PO with a silver leg. This has never happened in my timeline. I don't remember this. This is absolutely crazy. But the Mandela Effect is the power of the human mind remembering a previous timeline, a parallel timeline, in which things were absolutely different from the current timeline. And this is very powerful. This means that those people are experiencing the Mandela Effect and remembering things. They are not crazy. They are just ahead of the curve. They are just doing things and realizing things before the vast bulk of the population even cares to realize that something really very strange and very critical is happening. Now, the closing thought is that the Mandela Effect is one of the signs of the breakdown of the structure of time, or the stricture of time, the prison of time. And this breakdown is, I call it the collapse of time. And this marks the end of third density evolution on this planet. And this is actually really very exciting. If there has ever been a better, time to be alive, I don't know of it. I think that this is really very exciting times. So thank you very much for coming back. Please share, like, and subscribe. Let's spread the word of what's really happening. You experiencing the Mandela Effect. You're not crazy. Don't be upset. Don't be disturbed. You are just ahead of the curve. Thank you very much, and see you next time.